Hi, everybody, and welcome to Well at Work. I'm Donna Latier, the CEO and one of the co-founders of Gardenuity, and I'm really excited for this conversation with you, Tanya. It's going to be a great conversation, not only to talk about your wellness journey, but things you've seen in the workplace from a wellness perspective. So welcome, we're excited you're here.
Thank you so much, Donna. I'm so excited to be here and with the Gardenuity community, and just really excited about this conversation that we're going to have today with leadership.
It's an important conversation, but let's start. Tell me about your personal wellness journey.
Yes, great question. So my wellness journey began on the track. So I was a high school athlete. I ran track all through high school and some college. And through that experience is where I really got a passion for fitness and health and wellness and just really being present, being on a team and competing. And through that experience, it planted a seed. And then as I started to experience, in my life, my day-to-day life, my family, experiencing their own health challenges from struggles with mental health to chronic conditions like diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, and just seeing the caregiver fatigue that they were experiencing. I feel like all of those things really left a lasting impact on my life. And I like to say I turned my pain into my purpose, and it really drove me to a career in corporate health and wellness, where I've been for over 20 plus years. And through that experience, I really wanted to create an environment and opportunities to give people tools and resources that my family didn't have. And so that's been a part of my journey. And then in 2019, I found yoga. I'm sure we all were going through the pandemic, and the stress and the anxiety really drove me to the practice of yoga, where I was able to find mindfulness and being able to center myself. And I've been able to incorporate that in my day-to-day job as well.
Well, I love that. I think that it's just a reminder that self-care is not selfish, and you have to do things for you so you can continue to do for others. So let's talk about wellness in the workplace. And what does wellness in the workplace look like today? And how does that impact the culture of care in the workplace?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you what wellness in the workplace isn't. Let me start with that. It's not a bunch of wellness emails. It's not a bunch of free giveaways. What true wellness in the workplace starts with just that basic core principle of treating people like human beings, not just employees. And by really listening, everyone wants to feel heard, everyone wants to be seen, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. Some examples of what that looks like is going beyond just asking employees, what are you working on? But going one step further by asking them, how do you really feel? Because we know that performance is tied to overall well-being.
Absolutely.
So those are some of the examples of things that you could do, what it should look like in the workplace.
And so you've seen really programs evolve.
Absolutely.
And you spent a lot of time with Cigna.
Yes.
And you worked with leaders in companies that big and small, right?
Absolutely.
Where they understood the impact of holistic wellness actually impacted the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So how do you train or engage a leader to understand that there's lots of tools at their disposal to bring to their workplace, whether it's yoga, whether it's gardening, things that actually impact an employee's mental health and physical health?
Well, it first starts with really talking to the leader about, it starts with you. They have to model exactly what they are preaching, so you have to practice what you preach. We've shown that effective wellness programs really, it starts with leadership engagement, because the culture of an environment, if leaders are overworked and they feel like, working after hours, then unfortunately that's kind of becomes the culture of the employees. So it really starts with talking to them about stepping back and really taking care of themselves, asking them questions like, Are you taking time out? Are you making are you making time for mindful moments? And really starting with that example, I think starts to plant the seed. And of course, it's always a great, for the bottom line. So there's always a lot of value in terms of investing in employees' health and wellness, but it really starts with practicing what you preach.
Well, I think that we live in a time where the culture of care sometimes is dismissed.
Absolutely.
So I absolutely agree with you that when leaders care for themselves, it gives others cultural permission to do the same.
Absolutely.
Where I see there's a disconnect sometimes, if leaders are taking care of themselves, sometimes it's the middle management that is feeling a little lost and that taking care of themselves is an approved activity. How do you create a program that engages all levels of the organization, but also is turnkey? We all have so much to do. I know you're creative and you look at the organization. How do you create a program that's distinct to each organization?
Absolutely. So it starts with understanding the corporate culture. Are they working remote? Are they hybrid? And really getting an understanding of just what the organizational culture are, looking at the demographics, the age, the population, women versus men. So just going through just that, the demographics is really important, and then really talking to organizations about surveying their employees,
Yes.
seeing what's important to them. Creating variety. So wellness is not a one size fits all. We want to be able to offer variety, anything from gardening to yoga, maybe it's financial wellness, but really starting with understanding your population and not just making it a once a month thing, but embodying it in the culture. It could look like anything from really encouraging your leaders to have mindful moments. Maybe creating just a culture of where in between meetings, we make it kind of a common thing to take 5 minutes before you go to your back-to-back meetings, having walking one-on-ones, so getting out of the office. So just little mindful, small moments can really impact an organization. So those are some of the ways that I start with understanding the organization and then giving them tools that they can incorporate day to day and not just once a month. It's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite.
Right. Well, I love that. A couple of things I want to point out. One, I love how you customize them based on the company's existing culture.
Absolutely.
Right? And you guide them through. And I love what you said, that it's not just a flyer once a month.
Yes.
It's actually participating with engagement.
Absolutely.
My mind is going, I also know you're a yoga teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would expect if you have a class of 25 people, all those 25 people might have different strengths.
Absolutely.
So you have to create a class that is going to deliver for them based on where they are.
Absolutely.
So there's similarities here into how you go into companies
Absolutely.
and kind of read the room, read the needs.
Absolutely.
Not unlike the yoga class, is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And similar to gardening as well, where I think that leadership, yoga, even gardening, what's in common to me is really that progress. And not perfection. So very similar to gardening, I feel like you can't rush a garden. You have to take time. You have to create an environment in order to have a garden that's just not growing, that's really thriving. And similar to yoga, it's about meeting yourself where you're at and then working from there. And similar with leadership, it takes time to build trust and really to listen to your employees and kind of bring it all together.
Well, I know your teams trust you. Give me a story. Share a story of actually where you saw a holistic wellness program work.
Absolutely. I have many examples. One was an organization in which they had Mindful Mondays, and they took 15 minutes, and it was led by leadership. So that was really core. It was an optional thing for employees in which leadership took 15 minutes to just be mindful, to just check in and be vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a superpower, and maybe sharing things that they had concerns about. And they things that were going on in their lives. And it started out as just kind of an optional thing, but it really became a favorite of employees where everyone felt like they could immediately let their guard down and just be vulnerable and be transparent. And it led to better collaboration,
Yes.
more partnership, and more engagement.
Well, it impacts the bottom line.
It does.
Do you have any stories where you went in and you could tell the programming wasn't working?
Absolutely, absolutely. So to me, some examples of programs that are not working is number one, low engagement. They are promoting it, but no one shows up. To me, that's a telltale sign that leadership is not actually showing and giving employees permission that they can really take the time that they need
Right.
to go to those lunch and learns or take advantage of offerings.
Right.
So low engagement, seeing employees increase absenteeism, a lot of sick days. Those are examples of where employees are just not being present. They're not feeling good.
Right.
Low, satisfaction surveys. Those are all indications that employees are not happy or healthy, and where their programs are not being effective.
Okay, so talk to me about wellness dollars.
Yes.
Because wellness dollars aren't just check the box.
No.
It's actually, how you can use those dollars to deliver on challenges your company's facing. If connectivity among, your employee is low, they can be used to bring people together. If absenteeism or burnout is high, talk to me about wellness dollars.
Yes. So ways that organization can use wellness dollars is, number one, we all are motivated. Oftentimes, we know what we're supposed to do, but sometimes that extra encouragement can be that extra buy-in to get engaged and get excited. Oftentimes, employees, maybe they have their eyes on, a new Apple Watch or something that they really want or need, and it kind of gives them that permission to invest back into their health and wellness.
Okay, I love that. Permission to invest in their own health and wellness.
Absolutely.
I think the ripple effect takes place, right?
Absolutely.
So you can go into an organization because of your experience and really read the culture.
Absolutely.
And are you working then with a benefits leader, the HR team, at a company, and I know you, you creatively design programs that will impact on their goals?
Absolutely. So when we go into an organization, we can be working with benefits, HR, but also we want everyone to have a seat at the table. So it's really important to have leaders, executive leadership at the table when we're developing these programs to make sure that not only are we getting buy-in, but they're actually being a role model and that they're going to be involved. So it's really about that top down,
Right.
creating that culture. In addition to that, we're looking at their, claims data. So we just don't want to throw things at the wall. So when we're creating programs, we're also looking at their claims. What are their top risk factors? Is it diabetes? Is it musculoskeletal? Is it hypertension? And really trying to create programs that are going to actually have great outcomes.
Okay, I love that. I love how you personalize it. But here's a question for you. What do you do for self-care? People are coming to you to design programs for really big organizations. What are you doing for you?
Okay, well, a variety of things, because again, you do have to lead by example.
Right.
So for me, I prioritize self-care. That's really important through my leadership. I recently was on caregiver leave. My daughter had knee surgery, and it was really important for me to be present and there for my family.
As a side, her son just ran and finished the Paris Marathon.
Yes, he did in 5 hours. Go Sheldon. Super exciting. But for me, I lead by example by taking that time off, and by doing that, by sharing that also with my team and my leadership. A lot of people had no idea that you get caregiver leave and that ability to actually take care of yourself and your loved ones.
Right.
So that's really important for me. Making sure that I am taking mindful moments whenever I am in a meeting, asking people, can we just take a reset? So I really try to lead by example example, by doing, mindful breathing, and pausing in my day, making sure that I slow down and take a real lunch break. So again, leading by example and making sure that I prioritize my self-care.
I feel like you've been in this industry long enough that you've seen trends.
Absolutely.
And since the pandemic, and that's an interesting marker, a state to put your on, I think leaders are understanding the value of holistic healthcare and how it absolutely impacts bottom line.
Yes.
What trends do you see going forward? Anything stand out for you?
I would say GLP-1. So, these weight loss medications, I've seen a big rise in those. And really where I feel like where we want to meet that trend is really making sure that we are creating lifestyle programs to really help, maintain that loss. And so creating opportunities to have lifestyle and behavior change programs so that we're not just relying on medication.
Well, and so you see things happening because I know you're really smart, you're intuitive to what's going on globally. Are there things happening internationally that you think one day will come here? Like I know that social prescribing gardens is tripling every year in other countries, and happy to see it's finally coming here. Are there any things happening internationally that you think will come?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really tapped into as much of what's happening internationally, but I will say that I feel like being more mindful is really, really important. I think organizations are understanding that employees are burnt out, that they're overworked, and that we do have to make time to make sure that our employees are okay and really checking in. I'm seeing a lot of organizations create things like preventative care days, giving people time and permission to take care of themselves, and not having to use their PTO. So those are some of the things that I am saying in regards to organizations just being able to just pause and really making sure that we're investing in the whole person.
Okay, that's interesting. And as a yoga teacher, are there any mindful practices that you think some people might be intimidated by yoga?
Absolutely.
Right? But yoga is more than just stretching. I mean, it's here. So what kind of mindful practices do you try to share with the leaders you're working with?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite yoga practice is using breathing exercises. And that's a way to really slow down the mind and reset. And if you don't mind, I'd love to take 1 second out and just do it together.
Sure, of course.
So my favorite is box breathing. And that's a way to really slow down the mind and just become very present. So we're going to do that real quickly. We'll do 2 rounds. And what it looks like is you're inhaling for 4 counts. You're going to hold for 4 counts the breath. And then you're going to sigh it out through your mouth or your nose for 4 counts. And then repeat that twice. So let's do this together. So sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders back. And you can close your eyes for those of you that are out there, or softly lower your eyes. And what you'll do is take a great big inhale for counts of 4, 3, 2, 1, and just pause for 4, 3, 2, 1, and sigh it out. And we're going to do that one more time, taking a great big inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1, and sighing it out for 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's really easy when you're surrounded by lemon verbena and oregano and mint. The smelling is good. Well, if we wanted to leave with some advice for an HR leader or a benefits manager who recognizes the importance and the value of creating a program, what's the first thing they should do?
The first thing that they should do is, number 1, check in with themselves. Recognize, are you overworked? How are you feeling? Because chances are the way you feel, your employees are probably going to feel that as well, because I believe leadership sets the temperature of the culture. So check in with yourself first. And if you're feeling overworked, stressed out, then that's a good sign to pause and really make sure that you are making self-care a priority within yourself, and using that in mindful moments, giving employees opportunities to, not just when you're starting meetings to have checklists, but really checking in, making sure that everyone's okay, having different opportunities where employees are able to really be themselves and be vulnerable, and creating that safe space is really important, and asking for feedback. I think that's really important as an organization, because things can change.
Right.
How everyone felt last month may be completely different right now. So making sure, again, that you're really asking for feedback, and then not being afraid to implement and try new things. Those are some of the things that
I love that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, let's do a quick rapid fire. I'd like to finish with that.
Okay.
So what's your go-to wellness snack?
Yes. One of my favorites is apple butter, and apple butter, or any types of peanut butters, nut butters, and apple slices.
What's your favorite yoga stretch?
Yes, that's easy. It's legs up the wall. It's a very easy and relaxing stretch, especially at the end of the day. It's where the blood flow can come back down to the heart and really just relax the mind.
What's your favorite herb to put in a glass of water?
Oh, of course, mint.
Okay. And the best advice you've ever received is a leader?
Yes. Making sure you're making time for joy and having fun. Being a leader does not have to always be healthy. By laughing a lot and carving out that time to be childlike and have a good time, I believe that it's contagious, and it really kind of sets the tone for a positive and happier environment.
Okay, I feel better already. Thank you for joining us and actually sharing your wisdom and practical advice, which I think is important in a digital world, to kind of sit back and just share some ideas. So thank you all for being with us today. We love sharing great people and great conversations through Well Up Work. Again, I'm Gardenuity. Have a great week.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.